Welcome back to Maelstrom Gaming Studios. I'm Craig.
And I'm Connor.
And today we have another data sheet review for you guys. Today we'll be looking at the two heavy hitters in the shooting section of the Tyranids. That is the Exocrine and the Tyrannofex. We're going to go through all of their stats, their data sheets, some tactics, and compare them in terms of damage output at the end of the video. If that sounds good to you, please like and subscribe. Put other suggestions for units in the comments. We are coming to our 9th edition Codex, so we're going to be slowly wrapping up these 8th edition data sheet reviews and hopefully jump straight into 9th edition ones when they come around. With that being said, let's hop into the video. So today we're going over, like I said, the Exocrine and the Tyrannofex. We'll first touch on their profiles, so see all the stats and what they have. Then we'll go over adaptive physiologies and stratagems. They are pretty identical, being each one has their own unique stratagem that'll help them out. We'll then go through a weapon comparison. We will observe side by side the damage potential on average that they do to various targets, see which one excels in which situations. At the end, we'll do a little bit of tactics for them. There's not too much because they're pretty straightforward.
Not too different either.
Stand and shoot.
Yeah.
We're not going over any, high fleet benefits because really you take Chronos for the most out of them or, you don't.
Plus we have videos on that already.
We do. We have videos on that too if you want to get a little bit more. But we figured that the high fleets don't matter too much in this video here. And we'll wrap it all up in a conclusion.
Sounds good.
So first, let's look at the Tyrannofex. So he's got 6-inch movement, weapon skill 4, we don't really care about that. Ballistic skill 4, which is not great for a shooting monster. We'd like to see 3, but 4 is what it is. Strength, that also degrades from 7.6 to 5. It's not too big of a deal, but it will a little bit hamper the acid spray. The acid spray, as you can see, is a strength user weapon.
All right, true.
So at his top bracket, acid spray is pretty dang good at going after vehicles.
Yeah.
But once he gets bracketed, it becomes a lot less effective. I mean, it's okay. You can still do damage to vehicles, but yeah.
Can I butt in? It's also worth mentioning the degrading. It degrades on ballistic skills, strength, and attacks. The ballistic skill, I've never seen that before, where it degrades from 4 to 5 and then stays at 5 on the last level.
That's nice. If it went 4, 5, 6, that would be horrible.
That'd be too far.
Too bad.
Yeah, for sure.
These things do actually, they have some combat punch, so it's nice that weapon skill stays the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's true.
You probably don't want to get them into combat on purpose.
Don't do it, but I mean.
But you might. And you can shoot in combat now, so it's potential. They actually have the same close combat as you'll see on the Exocrine. They both have powerful limbs.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, we'll go over the guns. The acid spray is 2d6, strength user, AP -1, D3 damage. It is a flamer, so it automatically hits. We don't have to worry about that ugly ballistic skill.
Yeah.
The flesh spore hive is 20 shots at 18-inch range again. Strength 5, no AP, and 1 damage. It's fun.
It's for little guys.
Little guys, yeah, clearing out
big squads.
chaff and things like that. The rupture cannon, the big boy gun, heavy 3, strength 10, AP -3, and D6 damage.
Sure, we'll get into it more, but it's a little.
The D6, again, like a lot of things in Tyranid Codex, we are older.
Yeah.
D6, hopefully it starts going to D3 plus 3 or something like D3 minimum 3.
Yeah.
But it feels bad to shoot this big gun. You actually hit and you wound and you do 1 damage.
Yeah, true.
Stinger salvo, everyone comes equipped with that. It's 4 shots, strength 5, AP -1, 1 damage. It's an old heavy bolter. I hope this thing actually gets bumped up to 2 damage. It
totally
might,
possible.
but it would make sense. And then they're powerful limbs. The last thing we have to note is that the weapon beast stability, it's very similar to the Exocrine, but this one is, if they stand still, in their movement phase, they can double tap.
Right.
So now you are 46 on the acid spray, 40 shots on the flesh spore hive, 6 shots on the rupture cannon, and 8 shots on the stinger salvo.
It's crazy. I think maybe mentioned too, I think we forgot to say, it is toughness 8.
It is T8. Yeah, that is key.
14 wounds.
That is the one thing the Tyrannofex has over the Exocrine is the wounds.
Right.
They're both T8, which is great for your anti-tank gun line. It'll help you bounce off most weapons. Unfortunately, las cannons and AdMech weapons still will destroy these guys.
Which is what those weapons are made for.
The way AdMech
makes sense.
But yeah. Other than that, you go against missile launchers and multi-meltas. Wounding on 4s is pretty good.
Yeah.
Instead.
It is.
So that is the Tyrannofex. All around, it's pretty good. The only real downside is the ballistic skill.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, it's a 3-up would be nice.
It's also, I mean, the rupture cannon is good. It's most expensive weapon and the most swingy. So it's actually not the best for like killing super tanky stuff.
Yeah.
Either, you know?
It's tough.
Like a Land Raider, this might not be the best.
You'd have to roll pretty hot to kill land. Now it is.
Yeah.
You play Kronos, you're gonna get some benefits out of it. But yeah. So that's where he is. We'll go into now the Exocrine, which is more people's favorites.
You see it a lot more for sure.
Yeah. So again, move 6, weapon skill 4. His does degrade from 4/4 to 5.
That is so odd.
And the ballistic skill degrades 4/5/5.
4/5/5.
Which is great because it doesn't hamper us nearly as much.
Yeah.
Now 12 wounds with T8, 3 attack, D3 attack, and 1 attack. So he's a lot less offensive, I guess you could say.
In close combat.
In close combat.
Yeah.
Now the key here, so his weapon, again, powerful limbs like the other one. 2 damage is nothing to scoff at. Yeah. Kill a couple Marines. His bioplasma cannon, super plasma cannon, 36-inch range, heavy 6, strength 7, AP -3, 2 damage. Great. It's very universal. It can hurt the tanks at T7.
Can destroy infantry.
It can destroy the infantry.
Yeah.
Now his rule is a little different than the Tyrannofex. Symbiotic devastation. If he does not move, not only can he shoot twice, but he gets +1 to hit.
So he has the rule weapon beast, the same one as the Tyrannofex, plus not moving gives you +1 to hit in the shooting phase.
Yeah, the symbiotic targeting. So
that's what makes them so
that's
frightening.
The part that makes them good is because now they are 3+, 4+, 4+. Instead.
It's a huge difference.
It's a huge difference, especially when you start to stack on, you know, Kronos and other buffs that we'll talk about.
And I mean, you're generally always shooting twice because of the pretty long range.
Yeah.
So really you have 12 shots that are hitting on 3s at the beginning of the battle.
Exactly.
Which is terrifying.
And they're great. So those are 2 stats, pretty straightforward. They're both gun beasts. Let's go into some ways to buff them up a little bit. So adaptive physiology, again, for both of these is going to be the same.
Similar.
Dermic symbiosis, the one we're going to want to use on these guys, gives you that 5-up invuln save to help you counter some of the anti-tank weapons that'll just punch through your armor. But it also, most importantly, I think, doubles your wound bracket.
Totally.
So now you're not going to be hitting on 4s or 5s nearly as quick.
Yeah.
You have to get the Tyrannofex down to, let's see, down to
3 wounds.
3 wounds, so 5 wounds, or 2 wounds. 2 wounds. You have to get him down to 2 wounds before he's bracketed to his lowest point.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Or down to 3 wounds before or 4 wounds before he's bracketed as middle point.
Right.
And it goes
it's pretty significant.
A long way there. So the other one you could use, if you just want to spice it up a little bit, is voracious ammunition. So the way this one works is if you shoot a unit and you kill a model, and that unit is still alive, at the end of the shooting phase, they take an additional D3 mortal wounds. It's nothing crazy, but it could come into play.
It's 1 command point?
That's an adaptive physiology.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So again, you probably want Dermic symbiosis on them, but if you're just looking to mix it up and have some fun, that's the other one that could be useful.
Gotcha. And then other useful stratagems, pathogenic slime. This is a very commonly used one. Basically, it gives you +1 damage to your shooting attacks. It's great on both of these things.
And it is good to note that is all weapons. So the Stinger Salvo on the Tyrannofex is also 2 damage.
Ooh.
Yes.
You can do some extra stuff.
That is nice. Yeah, that one's probably the biggest one. It is pricey. 2 command points is pricey.
2 command points, yeah.
But now you've got, D3 +1 damage on your acid spray.
Yeah.
2 damage on all of those flesh borer hive shots.
You could do some some stuff with that for sure against an elite army.
And 3 damage on the Exocrine, because now those Gravis things, all those Blade Guard vets, all of the Eradicators, Aggressors, all those 3 wound models, or if you're up against Death Guard, they're -1 damage. Way to counter that.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Some other stratagems, if you want to do the next one.
Yeah, Symbiotic Devastation for 1 command point. It lets the Exocrine count as remaining stationary, which basically it gives you
that +1 to hit and your double tap
right.
if you moved. Yeah, so you can keep them behind, out of line of sight, and then move them up and use only one command point.
So this would be like if you're going second on turn 1, you'd almost always use this with your Exocrine because you want to move them out and get shots on with your full ballistic skill.
Absolutely.
Last one is Scorch Bugs for 1 command point, and it gives +1 to wound with a Flesh Boar Hive, which is the Tyrannofex.
Yes, the big shot. So now your 40 shots could be wounding Space Marines on 2s. Standard toughness 4 Space Marines.
Whoa.
There's still no AP to it.
No AP, 1 damage, 40 shots.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, 2 damage.
2 damage.
2 damage with 2 damage if you use Pathogenic Slime.
Right.
So it gets command point hungry.
Right.
But you could have 40 shots wounding Space Marines on 2s, doing 2 damage a pop.
It's a shame it's not 1 AP or -1 AP or something.
I know. It's a shame it's not.
That would probably be his best weapon then.
It would be really cool to see that get some love.
Yeah.
Speaking of the damage output, let's compare it here.
Wow.
So we'll run through this to you. These are comparing all of the weapon options versus various targets to see which ones are our best options, which ones are still good. We are assuming we are in a Chronos detachment because if you want to get the most out of them, you'll probably be in a Chronos detachment.
Yep.
And then we are going to assume they are also double shooting, so standing still and double shooting.
Which they will be most of the time.
Most of the time. I mean, if you want to do the math, I know the Exocrine's a little bit different. You can't quite just cut it in half because they get the weapon skill or ballistic skill buff too.
That's another factor in there, yeah.
I didn't want to have too many charts on here. So our 5 enemies is, the first one is a Scutari, 1 wound, T3, 4 up save.
Gotcha.
And a 6 up invuln save. I didn't have space in there, but I did account for it in there.
Okay.
The second target is your standard Space Marine, 2 wounds, T4, 3 up save.
Yep.
The next one is a Gravis Space Marine, 3 wounds, T5, 3 up save.
Gotcha.
Toughness 7 vehicle, your Rhinos or anything really. And then the last one, Toughness 8 with the 3 up save, typically your Knights. And the land raiders
are 2 up save. Yeah.
2 up save. So your Knights is essentially what I was going for with that one.
Okay.
So I will start off with the Exocrine. Also, I should state before we do this, if you see the numbers split, the ones on the left are standard, standard 12 shots for the Exocrine. The ones on the right are if you're using all of the stratagems on them. So
like
Pathogenic Slime, Pathogenic Slime, and for the Flesh Boar Hive, Pathogenic Slime, and the Scorch Bugs.
Okay.
Just to keep that so you guys understand. So Exocrine will do 6 kills to the Scutari, which is fine. It's great. It's not, you'd like to see a little bit more, but their 6 up invuln save will save 1 or 2. And
true.
But still 6 kills. And I did, if it was on the teeter-totter of like 6 or 7, I'm playing these conservatively on all these numbers, so they might do a little bit better, but these are conservative.
Gotcha.
Space Marine, 5 kills. That's great. Killing 100 points of intercessors or something.
Absolutely.
Great. The Gravis ones, 2.5 kills. Or if you bump that stratagem up, now you're killing 5 of them in one shooting phase.
Doubling it for those guys?
Yeah, because going from 2 damage to 3 on a 3 wound model
makes you kill 1.
Now you need 1 shot instead of 2 shots for each.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your vehicle at toughness 7, 8 versus 12 damage.
Makes sense.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That's close. If you use the stratagem, that's close to killing 1.
An extra 4 damage.
Pretty good.
It's a big deal.
And then I got on the Knight, this is where the Exocrine struggles at T8 because he's only 7, so it's 4 damage, or it can go up to 9 damage.
9 damage, wow.
8 damage.
8 damage?
Because it's 6 damage. My math is wrong.
He flipped it upside down.
I flipped it upside down. That is 6 damage. Sorry, I'll fix that for you guys to see.
Yeah.
All right, and then if you want to go to the flesh boar hive.
Yeah, so we have a Tyrannofex with a flesh boar hive, which is the 40 shot thing if you're standing still.
Yep.
So against a Skitari, you will normally kill 7. With the strats, you get 9. So that is definitely a situation where he's better than the Exocrine.
Yep.
Against a normal Space Marine, you will usually have 2.5 kills. This is where it goes back in the Exocrine's favor. Mm-hmm. You give him the stratagems, he goes up to 6 kills, so almost even with the Exocrine there, yeah. And now we have the Gravis stuff. This weapon is not made for tanky guys, so usually it will kill 1. Wow, that's crazy.
It's bad.
1 guy with 40 shots?
Yep.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Or if you upgrade it, you can kill 2.
2. Yeah.
And against a toughness 7 vehicle with a 3-up save, you get 2 damage on it. You can boost it up to 4 with the stratagems.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same for a knight.
Yep.
Because it's 5s and 6s.
5s and 6s the whole way.
So, basically, if you're going to fight a horde,
it's good.
Take that.
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really know you're going up against the Skitari blobs that you are now, it could be if you really want to. I don't encourage people to list Taylor. However, Skitari are in a special place right now where do everything you can to try and beat them. These guys might be pretty okay at doing that.
Yeah, and I guess against hordes that don't have as much armor as Skitari, the
guardsmen, other Tyranids.
That would be even better.
These are the bulkiest of hordes you're going to face.
So it's not a bad gun.
No.
It's just not good for elite stuff.
It's not good for anything else besides that.
Yes, right.
So the acid spray, 6 kills against the Skitari.
Personal favorite of yours?
I think, I'd say it's probably personal favorite. Mm-hmm. Against the Space Marine, 5 to 7 kills, depending on your stratagem. It gets a little swinging with the D3, but on average, 5 to 7 kills. Mm-hmm. Gravis, 2 to 4 kills, fine. Toughness 7 vehicle, 6 to 9 damage.
Much better.
Which is pretty good.
It is good.
It's pretty good.
For essentially a flamer.
Yep.
Can't complain about that.
And then on the bigger vehicles, 4 to 6 damage because you are only wounding it on 5s and 6s.
Right. Even that though is
That's not bad. Yeah. Not bad. If you want to do the rupture cannon.
Yeah, rupture cannon. So, this is the most simple one.
It is pretty straightforward there.
You would think it would be the best gun because it has 10 strength, but here we go. We got against a squad of Skitari, you'll kill 3.
Yep.
Because you don't get that many shots.
Only 6 shots.
Against a Space Marine, you kill 3. And against a Gravis Armor Space Marine, you kill 3.
Now, unfortunately with that, your dice could hate you, and you could go roll 1s or 2s on those.
Yeah.
And you could only kill 1 or 2.
Which is also, again, why we're doing this in Chronos, because we're giving it a standing chance here.
Yeah.
Against a Rhino, this is where it comes in.
Yep.
10 damage or 13 damage with stratagems.
Yeah.
So, again, don't tailor your lists if you don't need to, but, I mean, if you know you're playing... If your friend plays guard and they beat you all the time, then use this. You don't have to feel bad and it will do a lot of damage. And finally, against knights, it does 10 or 13 damage.
Which is good.
It's really good.
Which is good against a knight. That's half.
I was just going to say almost half, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last one.
Now, the other thing to note is this is the Stinger salvo. So you add this bottom column to the top 3.
Because it's your secondary weapon, basically.
It's your secondary weapon.
Okay.
So now you get 2 extra kills with the Stinger salvo.
Solid.
You'll get an extra half a Space Marine, or if you use a strat, an extra Space Marine kill.
Okay.
And the same 1 to 2 damage on a Gravis. So you won't quite kill 1, but it's something.
Yeah.
The vehicles, you only do 1 to 2 damage. It's a strength 5, AP -1,
it's
1 to 2 damage.
It's your pistol, essentially.
Yeah, it's a little chip damage just to help out. But this is the way it goes. We kind of color coded here so you can see what's good and what's bad. Obviously, the rupture cannon is your best anti-vehicle. Mm-hmm. But then when everything else, it's kind of up in the air, minus the flesh boar hive is very distinct.
Yeah, flesh boar hive is, you can see the red there is obviously no good, but everything else does have its niche.
It has its niche.
The Exocrine is pretty much the all-arounder.
It's pretty solid all around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll talk about this in the conclusion about both of these two guns, but from the math, it looks like the Exocrine and the Acid Spray Tyrannofex are your most consistent guys. Now,
especially against 9th edition meta stuff that we're seeing right now.
Right now, it looks like it'll be pretty good because, again, the Acid Spray, you don't have to worry about that degrading where as you get wounded, all of these will become less and less effective.
For the Tyrannofex.
So and the Exocrine too, potentially.
Because he loses ballistic
He loses only 1 tick of ballistic skill.
Right.
Same with the other ones, but still, they become a little less effective. The Acid Spray will stay that effective the whole time.
Right.
Just one thing to consider. Yeah,
we'll get it.
One thing to consider. Now, we'll do a few tactics. They're pretty straightforward because these are just big shooty bugs.
It's a gun with legs.
It's a gun beast.
And a face.
Not much to worry about it.
No.
The Exocrine, like we said, very good anti-space marine. It seems to be geared towards that, doing 2 or 3 damage depending on what you fight.
Yep.
Their move and shoot strat really is good to allow them to hide out a line of sight that first turn and let them pick when they want to shoot. It's okay, you've got 5 turns in the game. If you don't use them until turn 2, I've had plenty of games where I don't use an Exocrine until turn 2.
Yeah.
And that will potentially allow your opponent to overexpose themselves and make it so you only really have to show your Exocrine to a few targets.
Yeah.
And he can kill what he needs to.
It is always worth hiding him too, I'd say.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep him hidden.
They're toughness 8, but you still don't want extra damage on there.
If you don't have the 5-up invuln save on them, then you want to hide them as best as possible.
Yeah, totally.
I would say the 5-up is almost mandatory. However, I would be lying if I said my tournament list that I'm going to be using includes 2 of them without the 5-up invuln.
Right.
And I found in playing that if your board has line of sight blocking, you're going to be okay for the most part.
Just put them in smart spots if you can.
Be smart with them.
Yeah.
These guys, the other thing to say is these guys pair extremely well with Chronos and Symbiostorm.
Which is?
There's the Chronos specific stratagem. It is on rolls of 6+, do an extra hit. Now, because we are Tyranids, we are old style. When Exocrines get +1 to hit for standing still, 5s and 6s generate an extra attack.
So this will not be in the game much longer.
Use it for the last couple months.
Use it.
So now you're looking, your Exocrines are getting, 5s and 6s, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s.
For mortal wounds?
No, not mortal wounds, just for your standard shooting.
Yeah.
12 shots.
Yeah.
You're gonna get most of them through. There will be times where you might roll more hits than you do actual shots that you had. I also think, and this is said for both of them, but taking them in pairs is great because you don't have to worry about, oh no, 1 died, now I lost all my shooting.
And I mean, 1 will almost always be like a first or second target when you're fighting against Tyranids.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, someone knows. Well, if they don't know, they will learn quickly.
They'll learn, yeah.
You got to kill that thing right
So
away.
either way, your opponent will find out that they need to kill it.
I like taking everything in pairs. I think it's smart. Redundancy is awesome, but it's more important with these guys than anything.
Very important.
Tyrannofex has a little bit more to him because he's got some options.
Right.
My favorite weapon is the Acid Spray, as you might have picked up on. It ignores that ballistic skill issue. You don't have to worry about it. It's very well-rounded. Pathogenic Slime really allows it to amp up your damage potential.
It's crazy.
D3 damage is still swingy. D3 plus 1 is less swingy, but that's a potential of 4 damage per shot.
Yeah.
Going up against things like Death Guard Terminators, now you have the potential to one-shot them.
It's really dirty.
3-shot vehicles.
Yeah.
It's swingy, but I like them a lot.
It's also, I mean, it's swingy, but it seems to be the most consistent way to play him too.
In a way,
from what we've seen.
Yeah, I think it is.
For other guns he has, we've got the Rupture Cannon. Like we've said previously, it does have potential, but your ballistic skill being 4+, and the damage of it being D6, which we are hoping and assuming it will get changed.
Hope it can change.
But as of right now, and it gets how many shots? 3 normally?
3 standard.
So 6 if you're sitting still. Generally, you're only going to get half of them through, and then you'll wound with 2, probably.
Hopefully
2.
And most vehicles will still have a 6-up save against them.
Yeah.
Because they lost an AP for whatever reason.
That seems
unnecessary. It used to be AP -4. I don't know why they changed it. But
maybe they thought it'd be too strong.
Now you'll get a 6-up save against these, and you know they're going to roll those 6s occasionally.
It's just not, it's not the best way to do it for Tyranids.
Yeah.
And then the other gun is the Fleshboar Hive. It sounds fun. If you sink command points into it, it can be good.
It can be good.
If you want to sink command points into it.
That's, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you think it's the best way to use your command points? Just to pump them into that gun?
No. No, probably not.
Usually not.
There are better ways to get that kind of anti-horde shooting in the army. Just standard.
Tons of ways.
Standard termagants.
Yeah.
Can do it pretty close to the same, if not better.
Right.
Sure, you're less strength, but now you can double shoot with your termagants.
Yeah, but I mean, you could also do devil gaunts if you wanted to throw some more points
exactly.
in there. Yeah.
Deployment for some things, then, if you're using the acid spray or the Fleshboar Hive, consider rushing, like advancing turn 1.
Yeah.
And just getting them into the front position. Yep. Take your damage turn 1, unless your opponent goes first and they get close enough. But I like rushing them forwards, and then I don't have to move them the rest of the game.
Plus, with the Tyrannofex, I'd say maybe the biggest thing they have going for them against the Exocrine, besides the ballistic skill thing, is that they do a little bit in close combat. So having them...
They can do a little bit more.
A little bit more. So having them up on the field is more advantageous than having your Exocrine go up in the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They've got more wounds. They can take a little bit more. And
they can be more of a in-between.
If your opponent really wants to charge them, it's going to hurt. Overwatch is going to hurt. Now, you cannot double tap in Overwatch. It's only shooting phase. But still 2d6 flamer shots on Overwatch is...
You could melt some Space Marines with that, yeah?
Yeah, you can. Other options, if you want, I've done this a few times and it's typically been okay, is to strategic reserve them. That way you don't have to worry about them getting annihilated in the first turn.
Yeah.
Pop them on the board, and then you can shoot, you're only single tapping, but then you're up in the mid board and it's one less turn of shooting that you take.
True.
I think it's depending on the opponent.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation.
Depends how many guns are possibly being pointed at it.
Yeah, but it is a viable option to spend a command point or two to bring them in strategic reserve style.
Okay. You don't normally do that, though.
I typically don't, but then again, the armies that you play for your Necrons...
Don't really necessitate that,
it's just the heavy destroyers is the only thing I'm scared of, really, from that type of shooting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's it.
It's only one squad.
If you were playing, AdMech or Space Marines with a ton of multi-meltas and things, then I would maybe consider getting them closer with
Makes sense.
strategic reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, little conclusion, Exocrines, A for them. They are...
A tier.
They're especially in a Chronos detachment, they are cut above.
I mean, I was going to say bread and butter, but you're right, they're not. Yeah. They're better than bread and butter.
It.
Yeah.
The thing to note, the biggest thing I say is that for Tyrannofexes, they're B tier, but you have to be a Chronos detachment to make the Fleshboar Hive and the Rupture Cannon useful. Acid Spray might be a better option for you if you are not playing Chronos, because I think a non-Chronos Exocrine is not nearly as good as a Chronos. I mean, we know he's not nearly as good as the standard one, but he might be better than or not as good as a Acid Spray Tyrannofex.
Right.
Because if you look at those the stats we did, this is assuming you're rerolling ones to hit.
Yes.
The Acid Spray doesn't get that. So the Exocrine is only going to get a little bit worse.
Because the Acid Spray just hits.
It just hits. So it's going to stay the same, and the Exocrine's going to get a little bit worse.
That's so interesting. Okay.
Now, he's still, he can still hit on 3s and all that.
Still probably the best for like an elite armored army.
Yeah, he's still good.
Probably.
But if you're playing Leviathan, Leviathan and Jormungandr, maybe you want something in Kraken, or Kraken. If you want some shooting Kraken, I think a Tyrannofex might be a little bit better than a Chronos.
Okay.
In those situations.
So they both have a place where they belong.
Now we're only talking about these two. There's one more big bug that does a similar role as them. That's the Barbed Hero Duel. But we'll save him for another time because
it's kind of his own.
Forge World is their own thing, and he's like a better version, but also way more expensive than them.
Right.
So
that's another video.
That's another video, and we might do it at some point. Let us know in the comments if you want us to do that one. Yeah. So that's summary. I think they're both great. They both have their places. Competitive wise, you will see the Exocrine a little bit more just because of this. The situation Tyranids are in.
The consistency of his shot.
But if you're not playing, top tournament, trying to win and kick butt, I do highly recommend an acid spray Tyrannofex. Absolutely.
I mean, just as someone, I think the army I've played the most is Tyranids. I think it's pretty safe to say you're Tyranids. Tyrannofexes, if you don't have a lot of, I use a lot of close combat armies.
Yeah.
If you don't have a lot of high damage shooting, I mean, actually both of them are just, how do you kill them? They're in the back and they have toughness 8.
If your opponent plays a combat heavy army, a combat infantry heavy army, it's
so hard to get to them.
They might be something you want to look at. Necrons and Blood Angels, Space Wolves. Now
any Space Marine close combat.
They can bring some scary anti-tank with their aggressors.
For sure.
Eliminators.
Yeah.
But yeah. They're good. Anyway, we'll cut the rambling from there. You guys understand our position on these guys. If you liked the video, again, please like and subscribe. We do have a lot of fun making these, and we obviously want to keep going. Let us know in the comments other units you want us to do. Sneak peek, the Zone Thropes will be coming next after these guys, so you have those to look forward to.
Sweet.
That being said, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.